Dr. Swansea, thank goodness. I was beginning to be concerned.
Worry no more, Nurse Crane, for I bring good news.
Oh, Doctor, what a night. We lost 2 more patients. Nurse Scow said she couldn't take it anymore and resigned.
Yes, well, I'll make a new rota in the morning. In the meantime, find a good bed for Mr. Hampton. Be sure to pay attention to his needs.
Of course, Doctor.
Oh, and Dorothy?
Yes, Doctor?
Dr. Reed here has just returned from the front. He served King and Country and will be joining us here at Pembroke. We're very lucky to have gained a surgeon of his talent, and one so experienced in blood transfusions.
That is good news indeed, Doctor.
Oh, yes. Here at Pembroke, it's not what we have, but what we haven't. It's only thanks to Nurse Crane and the staff that our ship doesn't sink. If you have any questions, just ask her.
Duly noted. Thank you.
Your assistance is required, Dr. Swansea, immediately.
Welcome aboard, Jonathan. We'll catch up after my rounds. Coming, Nurse Crane. I'm coming.
I cannot enter.
Come on, you bastard! You can do better than that! Nah! It's my turn!
Rotten or pristine, each heart contains the seeds of life. Drink at this river, try it all.
Oh, come on, you bastard! I won't bite!
Sir, please. You've lost too much blood. Calm yourself.
You think I didn't notice? Stop your staring and get me to an hospital, you arse!
Insulting a good Samaritan. Not exactly the way to get rescued.
All right, sorry. I am in pain here. My guts are spilling out onto the street and you're yabbering on.
Yes. That's a very nasty wound you've got there. Take my word, I am a doctor. Dr. Jonathan Reed.
Name's Clay Cox. I'd appreciate you helping me to a better place, Doc.
Follow me, Mr. Cox. Let me assist you to that better place.
Bring this fading light into the shadows. Dance with him the dance of life and death.
No more. Not tonight. Not like this. I will not take another life.
It is wise for the huntsman to sometimes let his prey go, but no famished hunter can run for long.
Whoa, I feel giddy. What happened? Did I black out? What happened? Whoa, I feel giddy. Did I black out?
It's locked. Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed.
Always a pleasure to meet a colleague, sir. Especially when he was supposedly dead.
A colleague? Are you a doctor too?
Not anymore, sir. I used to be Dr. Rakesh Jadana. Now, I'm just Mr. Jadana, pawnbroker and humble guardian of this morgue.
What do you mean, you used to be a doctor? Was your license revoked?
No, sir. It is just that I like to be precise. I run a little pawn shop while taking care of the dead. But I used to be a real doctor.
Are you afraid or uneasy being surrounded by so many corpses?
Why should I? These bodies are empty vessels. Flesh left to decay. Poof. No soul anymore. All gone.
An interesting point of view. And quite an exotic one, too. Most people fear, or at least have a respect, for dead flesh.
Sir, as a medic during the war, I learned to face my death and the death of others. It's the pain we have to tame, not death itself.
How did you get this job?
After I left the army, I worked as an undertaker down by the docks. A dangerous place with many an unpleasant business there. Milton Hooks helped me get a job here.
Do you work here alone?
Yes, very easy work, sir. All I have to do is watch a few bodies. The situation was very different when the main morgue was still open.
Why do you have to watch these bodies?
Because these poor fellows have no names. We keep them in case someone comes looking for the missing. Sadly, very rarely happens.
Why close the hospital's main morgue?
It was for sanitary reasons after the beginning of the epidemic. Cadavers had to be moved to the nearest mass grave.
Have we met before?
I don't think so, sir. Why?
When we first talked, you said you were glad to meet me since I was reported dead.
Funny story, sir. Your sister came here a few nights ago. You were missing, and she was looking for your body. She must be very relieved now.
Do you need medical attention?
I'm feeling all right, Doctor. But perhaps it is because I, too, am used to the smell of the dead.
A pawnbroker? I expect you get all types of people here.
Yes, sir. All kind of people. For I sell all kind of goods.
Who comes here to trade with you? It's very unhygienic, even unsafe. Diseases can spread. For the customers, for the hospital.
I'm very cautious, sir. I've been a doctor, remember? And all my clients are good people. In fact, I think I only know good people.
What kind of goods?
With the quarantine, it's not always easy to buy things. So I trade, I exchange. Some people sell, some others buy. I like to help.
Since you're not afraid of dying, do you believe in life after death, Rakesh?
No, I believe we must do all the good we can while alive. For our time is short, and the obstacles are endless.
Do you think you would enjoy immortality as a concept?
I don't think so. Don't mistake me. I love life, and I'd like to live a long life. But everything has to decay, sir. Even goodwill.
Do you really believe goodwill cannot last?
As I said, sir, everything decays. If I was to never die, goodness, I would be bored or worse. And I like to be helpful, sir.
Quite depressing, wouldn't you say?
Yes, but the good news is, we'll all die before losing our humanity, sir.
So you're ready to die?
No, I am not. I don't fear death, for I won't see it. What troubles me is the pain my death will inflict to those I know.
You're a wise man, Mr. Chidana.
No, Dr. Reed. I am a foolish man. But I like to think otherwise.
Please show me what you have to sell.
Of course. It's just trinkets and curios, really. but I'm sure they can be useful.
I cannot enter.
To amaze me how you, the dead, seem peaceful and lost at the same time.
Dr. Swansea asked me to collect you, Dr. Reed. Hurry up. Doctor, where have you been? I've little time to play hide and seek with new staff members, no matter how illustrious they may be.
I found a wounded man by the docks. He answers to the name of Clay Cox. He requires urgent medical attention.
Already making the rounds? That's the Pembroke spirit. I'll ask our porter, Milton, to bring him back immediately.
Thank you, nurse. What can I do for you?
Dr. Swansea insisted we provide you a quiet office. You'll find it on the second floor with your name on the door.
Thank you. Nurse Crane, isn't it?
Yes, Dorothy Crane. Welcome to Pembroke Hospital, Dr. Reed. Your office has been prepared.
I would like to ask a few questions first. And Mr. Hampton, the patient we brought in, how does he fare?
I gave him a sedative to help him sleep. Poor thing was in quite a state of shock.
What kind of man is Dr. Swansea?
Well, you accepted the job from him. I thought you would have known about your employer.
It's right to assume Dr. Swansea knows far more about me than I do about him.
You'll get to know him soon enough, and better than me. The administrator has better things to do than mix with us.
Apologies, I've only just met him the once. This is sudden. I've only just returned to England.
Dr. Swansea is a brilliant surgeon and the most compassionate physician.
If you could point me in the direction of my room again, nurse.
Second floor of the hospital, left after the stairs. It's the last vacant office at the end of the corridor.
Thank you, Nurse Crane.
By this horrifying epidemic.
Good evening, nurse. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed, the new surgeon here at the Pembroke.
Dr. Swansea has already told us about you, sir. I'm Nurse Gwyneth Brannigan. Welcome to the Pembroke Hospital.
Did he really? It's a good thing I wasn't hoping to keep a low profile.
All members of staff have already read about your new blood transfusion technique. Dr. Swansea made sure of that.
I see. Well, I'm a little surprised, but I suppose I'll just have to deal with this unexpected notoriety.
You must know, blood transfusions are Dr. Swansea's primary subject of research. He is convinced it is the future.
How are things here?
Not good, to say the least. We're struggling against an invisible enemy, more lethal than any bullet from a gun. It's hard, Doctor.
An invisible enemy? Quite a poetic term for a disease, especially from a nurse.
Sorry, Doctor. These last few weeks have been exhausting. We could all do with a good night's sleep.
Do you think this hospital can survive the epidemic?
We are all volunteers here, and we're trying to hold fast, but how do we beat an invisible killer? Some nurses have already resigned.
I'm not familiar with all the staff yet. Perhaps you could help me.
Brilliant professionals, most of them. Dr. Swansea has a gift for recruiting talent.
Most of them. Is there a problem I should know about, nurse?
It would be inappropriate for me to speak ill of a colleague.
Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I have never met someone as dedicated as Dr. Tippett's. He should be a standard for us all here. If only he were younger.
Why should his age be a problem?
I guess it's fair to say he's always pushing himself to the limits. He just doesn't know when to stop and get some rest.
Nurse Brannigan, if you do know something, please tell me. Anything you say will be held in confidence.
No. I may disagree with some conduct, but in the end, everybody is doing their best.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Surely I can endure another night.
Good evening, sir.
So it is true. The famous Dr. Reed has joined us. I can't think of any better news during these terrible times.
Do we know each other?
Actually, yes. We met once before, at the Rockefeller University in New York.
Dr. Tippett's, yes, I remember. I was assisting Professor Carell in his research about coronary bypasses. He had nothing but praise for you.
He was also very confident about your future. And look at you now. Eminent surgeon and blood transfusion specialist.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
You're exhausting yourself, Corcoran. Maybe you should think about preserving your strength.
No, we must keep on healing all those poor souls. We are the last rampart before chaos. Once more, unto the breach.
Nurse Brannigan is worried about you, Doctor.
She should not have told you that. I will have a word with her.
You don't have to blame her for her honesty.
I'm not that kind of man, my dear Jonathan. Actually, Nurse Brannigan's opinion is the only one I may listen to.
What can you tell me about the staff in the hospital?
Some are really good, and others are not so good. But during this troubled period, there is no time for slander. I prefer to focus on the positive character traits.
Tell me more about cherished people, then.
Nurse Brannigan is a pearl. She is the most helpful and dedicated nurse I've ever worked with. A clever and cheerful woman.
You really seem to admire her skills.
I'll go even further. If she was a man, she would be a damn fine practitioner.
Any opinion about the management?
I don't always agree with Dr. Swansea's reserve, But I must admit, he does all he can to keep this facility running during this crisis.
Ah, yes, the burden of command. I was fed up with this concept while serving as a medical officer.
Don't get me wrong. Swansea's a good administrator. I just wish he would get out of his office now and again.
What is the Pembroke Hospital situation? And please, speak freely.
This hospital is not exactly the best of London. I'm sure you are used to working in a better environment.
It's not exactly the best situation in London either. I can't have expected this hospital to be prepared for what was to come.
Don't be misled by appearances, Dr. Reed. This hospital does not lack talented people. It just lacks hope.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett. Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
Why does Dr. Tippett claim you're the main reason he keeps working, despite his fatigue?
If it wasn't for him, I probably would have left the Pembroke years ago.
Dr. Tippett does not think of you as just a nurse anymore, does he?
If you're suggesting he's not taking my gender into consideration when it comes to medical practice and knowledge, I really hope he doesn't.
Do you require medical assistance, nurse?
Thank you for your concern, but I'm fine.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance. Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'm new here.
I've already heard about you, Dr. Reed. I'm Milton Hooks, the ambulance driver for this shithole of a hospital.
That's quite a blunt introduction, Mr. Hooks.
You can call me Milton. I like to speak my mind, Dr. Reed. Perk of the job. Don't judge me, and I won't judge you.
I'm not sure I understand what you're talking about.
Well, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure a gun can't be used as a surgical instrument.
You have a keen eye. I learned to shoot during the war, and have carried one ever since. Old habits die hard.
No need to explain, Dr. Reed. And if you ever need a better gun, remember, I may have something for you.
How is the situation around here?
You want to hear the situation is all right? It's fucking awful. We lack everything, and it's getting worse every day.
So what do you do exactly in this hospital? Apart from smuggling guns, I mean.
I've been an ambulance driver since... too long, I guess. I bring sick people here night and day. It's a dirty job, but I get it done. Most of the time.
Since you're on the front line, how is the sanitary situation in this vicinity?
It's a complete disaster. It's even getting dangerous to enter some streets or buildings. Even the locals attack you.
It sounds like things have been a bit rough recently. What's happened?
Yesterday I got attacked by the patient I was bringing here. I escaped through the hospital's garden, but I lost my wallet when I was running.
You left an infected patient outside the hospital? That's incredibly dangerous.
Go there yourself if you want, but be careful, Doctor. I'd rather not bring your dead body back.
Are you really smuggling weapons through the hospital?
And why not? I've already been attacked by patients, you know. And by gang members willing to steal my money.
But you're not defending yourself. You're selling guns to civilians.
You keep people alive your own way, Doctor. I offer them another way to protect their health.
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days.
Listo, chicos, volví. Sé que ha sido bastante texto, chicos, pero sirve para entender el contexto de la historia, cómo están los personajes. Aparte, que es de los coleccionables del juego, o sea, es parte del menú, es parte de la historia. Acá pueden ver, por ejemplo, que... Ay, me equivoqué. Que acá están los personajes. Entonces, tenemos que hablar con ellos, ir descubriendo las pistas que tienen para ir mejorando su calidad de sangre. ¿Pero ya no? Ahí está. ¡Oli! ¡Oli! Weón, me asustaste. Yo estaba re escuchando... ¿Qué se me está re escuchando la historia y de repente... Bueno, mira, aquí tenemos un pilar. El Dr. Edgar. Acá tenemos otro pilar, que es Dorothy Crane. Y acá tenemos otro pilar, que es John Hampton. ¿Quién es John? ¿No era Tom? ¿Quién es John Hampton? ¡Ah, el cura! El cura que casi matan, cabros. Y este es... está agotado. Curar para el agotamiento. ¿Cómo? Ah, 30% pérdida de calidad de sangre. Ah, este. Ah, el ebrio. Ok. Ya no fui, dice. Desde que me fui, me hace su mini resumen. Peleamos con nuestro primer vampiro. Resulta que sí había un vampiro Skull, le dicen, que solamente quería... tenía demasiada sed de sangre. Entonces mataba. De hecho, hasta parece que se los comía porque habían huesos por todos lados. Tenía un nido lleno de partes humanas. Y el cura, lo conocía, lo iba a ver, quería así como que se calmara y demás, pero él le dijo, déjame beber tu sangre, tengo sed. Y él se dejó, el cura. Resulta que cuando estábamos ahí, ya estaba casi por mandarlo al patio de los callados, como diríamos, nos pusimos a pelear con Bill. Cuando estábamos, le ganamos a Bill, pero mientras estábamos hablando con John, para ver qué onda, qué le pasaba, se levantó Bilbo a rematarnos, y en eso aparece la vampira y le pega le pega con una estaca de madera improvisada y lo mata, y le dice que tiene que matarlos así. Entonces ahí como que ¿quién eres tú? ¿Quién eres tú? Le dice el otro, y dice, deberías agradecerme que te salvé. Me voy. Seguramente debía haber imaginado que eras un neófito, un recién nacido. Y se fue. En eso llegó el doctor Edgar y le dice, oh, fulano, no sé qué, no sé cuánto, no sé qué. Hay que llevar al otro fulano, al cura, al hospital que resulta que administro para solucionar el tema. Y te invito a ser parte del hospital. Tendrás un lugar para investigar, donde esconderte, habrá dinero y que lo ayudemos con las investigaciones. Resulta que nosotros no solo somos un médico cirujano, oficial de guerra también, sino que tenemos una especialidad que tiene que ver con la sangre, con las transfusiones, por lo que estoy viendo. Por lo tanto, podemos investigar todo ese tema, que seguramente esto nos ayudará, y por eso tenemos... sacamos parte de la muestra de sangre de Bill, del vampiro contra el que peleamos. Y seguramente la vamos a llevar acá y la vamos a analizar. Puedes ver que los ciudadanos son importantes. Estuve casi a punto de matar a este weón. Pero nada, tenemos que ir descubriendo las pistas. ¿Ve que hay unas lupas? que están desbloqueadas es porque ya descubrimos las pistas. A medida que vamos charlando con ellos, se van desbloqueando ciertas conversaciones. Y a medida que lo logramos, vamos mejorando su sangre. Me imagino que es para tenernos sanos, me parece. Yo no fui, dice. Bueno, eso. Me faltó algo más. Y tenemos un tipo que vende armas, un traficante de armas, que tenemos ahí, gente que napo. Hay otro que vende cosas, que no me acuerdo cuál es. Yo sí, sustantivamente. ¿Te hablo de nuevo? ¿Tenemos alguna conversación?
Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
A medida que hablamos con los
Dr.
personajes,
Reed, any good news to share?
creo que podemos... No, mira, está agotado. Creo que... No, viste, pensé que haber hablado con la enfermera nos serviría para
Goodbye,
desbloquear
Dr.
algo.
Tippett.
Pero no. Otra cosa que... ¿Vieron que él dejó un paciente infectado en el jardín? Y allá está su billetera. Vamos a tener que ir hasta allá para ver qué onda, seguramente.
Dr. Swansea is right. This place seems perfect to conduct my research.
Nuevo coleccionable. A ver. Acerca del uso del ajo y de las estacas de madera. ¿Cómo que? No, un paciente infectado, perdón. Un paciente infectado. Estimados hermanos, el paciente lo empezó a atacar y él se arrancó por poco y lo dejó en el jardín y perdió la billetera. Así que seguramente vamos a tener que ir por ahí. Estimados hermanos, debo llamar a vuestra atención con respecto a un punto esencial. El uso del ajo como protección contra los vampiros. Seamos totalmente claros con este asunto. El ajo jamás te protegerá contra esas criaturas. No importa lo fresco, fuerte u oloroso que sea, el ajo es totalmente inservible como defensa. Nunca me canso de repetir el daño que ha hecho la novela de Bram Stoker. ¿Leyeron Drácula de Bram Stoker? Son puras cartas. Está buena, la leí. Sí, por supuesto que los habitantes de los países eslavos colocan ajo en los ataúdes. Y sí, por supuesto que los habitantes de la isla de Santorini cuelgan ajos en sus ventanas. Se podría escribir tanto sobre este lugar. Espero poder regresar pronto a la isla para explorar más a fondo su tradición oculta, pero el objetivo no es el de proteger a los vivos de los demonios. Se trata de advertir a los muertos de que son conscientes de su malevolencia. Se trata de un símbolo, nada más y nada menos. El ajo no sirve, yo aquí sin bañarme. Buena peli, un clásico. La peli no la he visto, pero sí leí el libro. Así que sí, por favor, portad ajo, mostrad ajo, colgad ajo y dejadles claro a las sombras que nada teméis. Pero si lo que buscáis es protección... Gracias. Pero si lo que buscáis es protección... bla, 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 bla. Sobrenatural, tendréis que indagar mucho más en los secretos olvidados de la tradición oculta. Pues esta es la verdad, hermanos míos. El ajo no ahuyenta a los vampiros. Pero todas las plantas frescas sí los dañarán. Es como si sus cuerpos no soportaran la presencia de elementos botánicos. He visto huir a un iracundo vulpe tras golpearlo con una rosa. Sí, una simple rosa. He sido testigo de cómo un violento Econ... Miren chicos. Vulpe, Econ, Scar o Skal. Para que vean que hay una categorización. Caía de rodillas y suplicaba clemencia al ser golpeado por una estaca de madera. Desconozco totalmente el motivo de su eficacia y me jugaría el cuello por descubrir el misterio, pero la verdad sigue estando ahí. Los vampiros son muy sensibles a las hierbas, a las plantas y a la madera recién cortada. Primado de San Paul. Claro, siempre usen protección, dice el Chris. Hace unos meses la vi en Netflix, debe estar por ahí. No, pues si te está diciendo que no es protección. No es protección, es simplemente como un símbolo. Una amplia gama vampírica, claro, se jugaría el cuello. Justamente. Ay, ¿tengo que hablar con todos? Ah, bueno, me servirá para comer.
Good evening, sir. Can I help you?
Unless you're here to fix my face. No. I don't think you can help me.
I'm Dr. Reed. I've recently taken the position of head surgeon here.
¿Cirujano en jefe?
Am I right?
You guessed right, Doctor. German shell took my pretty little mug right off. But they still call me Thomas Elwood.
A ver, necesito la otra mano. Ese es por el provechito.
How is your stay with us, Mr. Elwood?
Oh, it's bliss. I just escaped death in the trenches to be surrounded again by the moans of the dying.
Can I ask you precisely why you're a patient here?
It's the pain, sir. The drugs don't work. It just hurts under the scars, if you get my drift.
Pobrecito.
Can I do anything for your pain?
Nurses gave me a bunch of pills. No effect. Told you. It's like the flames are under my skin, burning away.
Seguramente vamos a tener que ayudar a esta gente
Is someone in
con temas
particular looking
vampíricos.
after your case?
Nobody since the old and tired doctor spoke to me.
Que
Started
siempre
to
está
think I was
cansado,
forgotten
mira.
about. Wouldn't blame you.
You don't seem worried by that.
My face hurts so much more when I smile or cry. I've learned it's easier not to speak. But be assured I'm smiling inside.
Ando cazando unos zancudos que se colaron en pieza. Ay, no. Estaba en la misma cuestión, weón.
Where were you stationed, sir? Did you serve for long?
I really don't want to talk about all this shit.
No offense. I was pushing too much. I served in France myself. I just wanted to know what happened to you.
You were an officer, weren't you? Then I doubt we fought the same war, sir. No offense.
¿Vieron lo que le dijo?
Soldier, do you need assistance?
I'm fine. Just do something for this pain, will you? That's all I'm asking.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Disgust on every street corner.
I wish I could be sick
Daily
again.
routine.
Feel my blood boil with the fever.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Reed, the new surgeon at the Pembroke Hospital. And who are you?
Your name has no meaning to me, mortal. You're nothing but dust blown by the winds of eternity.
I beg your pardon?
What are you begging for, mortal? My clemency? Well, tonight maybe I'm inclined to mercy. You'll never forget the night you met Thelma Howcroft.
You keep calling me mortal. Why is that? And if I'm mortal, what are you?
Well, Dr. Reed, if you must know, I'm a vampire.
And why do you believe you're a vampire?
I don't need to believe anything. It is what I am. It is what I feel within this hollow shell of flesh.
Please, describe to me how you feel. What is it like to be a vampire?
I can hear my body crumble from the inside as my flesh cracks and fades. I sense the last pulse of postulant blood within my drying veins. I need new blood.
I see. Have you ever heard of Cotard syndrome, Miss Howcroft?
Never.
It's a mental illness discovered by a French neurologist named Jules Cotard. The affected patients are delusional. They believe that they are putrefying, that they are dead, a ghost or a ghoul. Or in your case, a vampire.
Delusional, you say? Oh, sad and petty mortal. You can't even begin to understand the concept of immortality. And you think it is I who am delusional.
Vieron que cuando ella dijo lo del... respondió a lo del síndrome de Cotard, al costado salió nueva pista. Bueno, resulta que con nuestros poderes psicotrópicos de vampiro podemos como forzarlos a responder o esas pistas azules.
I can leave whenever I want. As a woman, a spirit, fog, or bat.
Who are these enemies you mentioned? Can you describe them?
I cannot say for sure. But I sense their eyes on me from nearby. I feel them watching me every time I visit the garden near the morgue.
Mis poderes psicotrópicos.
The staff here are not your enemy. They're here to help you, to care for you.
I'm not speaking of the doctors in white. I'm speaking of the men and women who hunt me. For I am a vampire.
I see. Don't worry. These people will not find you here. I'll personally make sure they leave you alone.
Thank you, mortal. But do not interfere with them, for you are no match for those that hunt me.
Viste que dice objetivo equivocado, nueva investigación.
Who are you really, Miss Howcroft?
Claro, los
apart
embrujo.
from being a vampire.
Is that not enough for you, puny mortal? What do you require? Proof of my powers?
I'm curious to know who you were before becoming a vampire.
No, it's such a long time ago, I don't remember. Centuries of unholy life can have
Hola,
strange
Yuska.
effects on one's minds, you see?
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
Has lost its effect on me. But the suffering continues.
Pobre gente, weón. Oh, me los puedo hacer. No. A ver.
Good evening, Mr. Hampton. How do you feel?
Dr. Reed, is it? Oh, Sora, I must apologize for my
Y de
behavior.
ahí al final tienes que ser médico de toda la gente del poblado y velar por su salud.
Fear and exhaustion
No, no lo sé, pero me muestra que están débiles. Por ejemplo, el borracho que está agotado
A
tengo que
little
curarlo.
delirious, perhaps. But who wouldn't be after enduring an abduction?
Thank you, Doctor. That's a relief.
Igual los puedo matar a todos.
Now all I need to do is rest and return to my flock.
Y después los puedo, por ejemplo... ¿Cómo acabó la guarida de William Bishop?
How did you end up in William Bishop's den?
I had received alarming news about his recent
No me muestra
behavior.
esto.
I went
Mata,
to his
mata,
place
dice.
and he refused to let me go.
Yo veo la opción de matar a todos.
Why did he abduct you?
William was an alcoholic. His addiction suddenly changed to blood. I don't know why. Just like a patient I met here. This Miss Hawcroft.
Pucha, que rico comer.
You dared to enter this awful place alone.
Pero la provincia de
You're a
juego te decía
hero,
que podía
Mr.
salvar o condenar la ciudad. Sí,
Or a fool.
me decía
I'm just
eso.
a man trying to help his friends, Dr. Reed. William Bishop was a conflicted soul, searching for light.
Do you know Tom Watts, the bartender from the Turtle? I met him before I found you in the canning factory.
Tom? Yes, of course. Always the helping hand, good old Tom. Without men like him, corruption and despair would have wiped out the East End long ago.
People are still in despair.
How could it be otherwise? The authorities have left us all to rot in this contagious nightmare. No drugs, no advice, nothing. It's a damn shame.
Who should I avoid in this part of town, then? Any particularly evil figures?
Not really. Most men and women are just doing their best. And it's not my habit to speak ill of people I know, Doctor.
What is the general situation in the East End docks?
The situation has always been tough, with a lot of tensions between the gangs and the Dockers' trade union. The Wet Boot Boys are very nervous since they lost their leader.
Who leads the gang now?
Since Clay Cox went missing, it's his wife Edwina who runs the show.
Mira, Clay
Cox.
Cox.
Her minion, Booth Digby.
Has the gang been threatening you?
Lo encontramos a ese.
I've had this nickname for so long, you know, the sad saint of the East End. No one dares to bug a saint, not even criminals.
Ese fue
What do you
el
do
que
for a
podíamos
living,
haber
Mr.
matado de
Hampton?
entrada de los ciudadanos.
I can't help but notice the cross around your neck.
I manage a night asylum for the poor and homeless of the docks. And I try to guide the lost and hesitant on the right path to our Lord.
Are you a priest, Mr. Hampton? A deacon, maybe?
Not at all, Doctor. I'm just a man of faith willing to preach the good word.
O sea que no es sacerdote.
Why didn't you use your cross against William Bishop? To repel him somehow?
That's a very strange question, Doctor. A cross is no magical token, if that's what you were trying to say. Not mine, anyway.
No sabe.
How do you feel, Mr. Hampton? Medically speaking, I mean.
I feel exhausted. Beyond exhaustion, actually. William drank so much of my blood in his madness. I feel empty.
You're in good hands here. Dr. Swansea is well versed in blood transfusion, and I'm sure he'll take the best care of you.
Thank you, sir. I believe all I need is rest.
¿Se imaginan que el
Then I can go
doctor,
back to the
el
people who need me.
que dirige el hospital sea malo? Ay, Dios mío, que
Have you
no
made
confío en
friends
nadie.
since you arrived?
Not really, but I recognize Miss Harriet Jones. I knew her when she lived by the docks. That poor woman had such a miserable life.
You never came to see her here at Pembroke. Receiving visits when sick can be an important part of the healing process, you know. We're not just bodies.
You're preaching to the converted now, Doctor. To be truly honest, I thought she was dead. She left the docks many months ago.
Goodbye, Mr. Hampton.
Sería clásico que el
We'll
director
talk
sea el
again
malo.
later.
Puede ser, ¿por qué no?
It's locked.
Creo que me falta algo.
Disgust on every street corner.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
¿Viste? Mira. ¿Por qué?
Do you require my services, Miss Howcroft?
I have no need for your medicine, Dr. Reed.
No confías
Blood
en nadie.
is the only drug I...
Dudo de todos, Viste que las preguntas te las marca, pero qué extraño. Bueno, que
I'll
parece...
leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
What your last orders would be, sir.
The daily routine.
Bien, veníamos de ahí afuera. A ver. Oh, mira, otro desconocido, a ver. Oli.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. I believe we're going to be colleagues.
Reed, yes, I've been informed about your arrival. I'm Waverly Ackroyd. Welcome aboard, I suppose.
Does my arrival inconvenience you in some way, Doctor?
Creo que ahí en la
Let's
mesa hay
just
algo
say
que
that
no,
I don't
no
particularly share
necesitamos. Nunca
Dr.
confías en
Swansea's enthusiasm for hiring you.
Creo una,
What we need here
creo una
are
ONG muy
reliable
contra.
professionals, not overrated
Un
dabblers.
poco descuidado el hospital igualmente. Están, me parece que sobre...
If you have a problem with me, Dr. Ackroyd, please
ya
feel
no,
free to
¿cómo
tell me.
sería sobre no
Dr.
sé qué?
Swansea has imposed your presence on this hospital without asking anyone's advice. The benefit of his position. But I don't agree with it.
I know we've never met before, but I believe this hospital could use all the help it can get. You will agree with that, I'm sure.
Oh, but I have heard about you, Dr. Reed. Of course, you can't say the same about me, since I have not wasted my time courting the press.
Oh.
Aren't you too old for such jealousy? It really won't do you any good, you know.
Don't be ridiculous, Dr. Reed. A simple glance is enough for me to know you have nothing for me to envy.
Ha!
Since your tenure in this hospital is longer than mine, perhaps you can tell me more about this place.
Let's
tiene
just
mal
say
este weón,
I'm
cabros.
tired of the carelessness around me. I have always respected the skills of Dr. Swansea, but over time his enthusiasm has become displaced.
Carelessness? Exactly what are you talking about?
We're here to save lives. The people who trust us are not volunteering for experimentation. They're here to be healed.
I don't intend to run any radical experiments, Doctor. Even if I, as any good practitioner should, express an interest in pushing the boundaries of medical research.
Modern medical methods were created through audacity and ego. But there are rules in our line of work, and they're here to protect our patients.
Oh, ¿viste? Este weón piensa que el director hace experimentos.
I don't know what you've heard about me, but I have already proved my value as a practitioner.
I don't question your skills,
Dice,
Dr.
qué mala
Reed, but
memoria
your
tiene, señor
motive.
traidor. Te recuerdo que yo
Is it money,
llegué
fame, or are you
a un
truly
día de tren que me dijiste
dedicated?
que era el
And what
presidente.
exactly is that supposed to mean?
I served in the war just
O sea
like
que
you.
el que creó la
But
ONG de la
unlike
gemia
you,
fue
I did
el
not use the
Berserker.
wounded to play the modern sorcerer.
Be careful what you insinuate, Dr. Ackroyd.
I only want you to admit you used those men to improve your theories.
Oh.
This is ridiculous. My blood transfusion technique saved many lives, and you know it.
You see? That is exactly what I hate about people like you. You avoid this kind of accusation instead of facing reality.
Oh my god.
It seems you have bad memories of your military service.
I refuse to see this industrial slaughter as scientific progress. War only reveals the worst in men.
We can at least agree on something, Dr. Ackroyd.
Bueno, me fue como el trasero. Este tipo nos odia.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later.
Este tipo nos odia y cuando se entere que somos vampiros, se nos acabó la fiesta, cabros. ¿De dónde venía yo? De acá. Acá venía. Ay, santa madre de la cachucha, tanta gente, weón. Oh, Dios. Bueno, empecemos. Oli.
Good evening, sir. I'm Dr. Reed. May I help you?
I don't know if a third opinion is needed. Your colleagues are already arguing about my
La creó
condition.
cuando lo echaste del stream. En defensa full.
Would you mind telling me more
Fue el
about your
primero en defender al
situation?
equipo.
I'm Harvey Fiddick. All I want is to get me bloody arm fixed properly.
Tell me about yourself, Mr. Fiddick.
I'm just a regular guy waiting to get his arm fixed, so I can return to work and to my family.
I was more curious about what you were doing before being hospitalized.
I'm a carpenter, and a good one too. But that means I need both arms to feed my family, Dr. Reed.
Tell me about the doctors who are arguing about your case.
Strickland and Ackroyd. They both want the best for me, but there's a lot of pride there. Doctors are no different from carpenters, it seems.
What do you mean?
I often had professional arguments with rivals on a building site. Difference is, I disagreed about wooden nails, not flesh and bones.
Are you satisfied with your treatment here?
Well, it's clear that I've chosen a bad time to be injured. Forgive my bluntness, but you seem overwhelmed by cases of the flu.
I won't lie to you about it. I'm afraid we are.
Are you sure you don't want to operate yourself, Dr. Reed? I have the feeling you're very capable. And your colleagues seem to think so too.
In other circumstances, you would be right. But for now, I don't think I can take on the responsibility. My apologies.
Sí, para lo que me sirve es médico del mal. Miren, cabros, arriba dice que con el L1 lo podemos cautivar. Y eso es poderlo llevar a la oscurita y comerlo.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Oh.
Good evening, madam. Can I help you?
It's my son who needs you, sir.
I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. How can I help your son?
I'm Beatrice Goswick, mother of Mortimer Goswick. Could you check on him, please, Dr. Reed? I've heard much of your talents as a physician.
What can you tell me about yourself, Mrs. Goswick?
Not much to say. Just take care of my Mortimer and I'll cover all the expenses. That's all that matters.
Are you really that rich? Most of the patients here are of a more humble origin, if I may say so.
Yes, thanks to my husband. May he rest in peace. I can cover any needed medical expenses.
May I ask if you have an occupation, Mrs. Goswick?
I'm a teacher by profession. I teach young women who are more ambitious about their futures than their families.
What do you think of your reception here? Any complaints?
I have had the uttermost reservations about this hospital since we arrived. But we had no other choice, considering the state of emergency.
Is there something in particular that's...
Mira, ahí tenemos
Some of the
nueva
staff
pista
were not
disponible.
especially welcoming. I suspect they're not accustomed to dealing with patients of such social standing.
Tell me more about your arrival at the Pembroke Hospital. What gave you such a bad first impression?
The ambulance driver was quite rude, for a start. And that nurse, Miss Hawkins, seems to have quite a dubious attitude.
What do you mean?
She managed to secure a bed for my son despite the epidemic. It was a relief, but it wasn't cheap.
She charged you for a bed?
Yes, and I paid without question, considering the urgency of the situation.
I share your concern, Mrs. Goswick. Be sure that I'll talk to the people involved.
I don't expect compensation, Dr. Reed. But I'm aware such behavior would not be tolerated in other hospitals.
Mira, viste, tenemos muchas conversaciones para liberar más cositas.
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Ahora hablamos con el hijo. Hijo, ¿podemos hablar?
Good evening. I'm Dr. Reed. Can I help at all?
No.
Really? Why are you here then?
I don't want to talk. My throat hurts too much.
I suppose that this pain is the reason you're here. Is someone taking care of you?
Yes. And no.
Could you at least tell me your name, sir?
Mortimer. Mortimer Goswick.
Bueno, no puede hablar, loco.
Why did your mother have you hospitalized here? She seems convinced this is a bad hospital.
My mother just wants the best for me. She won't rest while I'm here. She'd go all the way to hell and back to help me.
Pembroke Hospital may look unorthodox, but rest assured you're in good hands here.
It's not me you have to convince, Dr. Reed. It's my mother.
Is your mother bothering you? As your doctor, I can ask her to leave you alone if you would prefer.
That's tempting, Doctor. But you have no idea what my mother is capable of. She would tie herself to my bed if you asked her to leave.
Hincha huevo.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
I'm sure you realize a doctor and his patient have to communicate, sir. Would it help if I gave you some paper and a pen?
Not really.
I see. Then maybe it's not just your throat that hurts, Mr. Goswick. Perhaps your sore throat is just the consequence of something more hurtful.
Yes, maybe. But I don't want to talk or even write about it now.
How painful is your throat, Mr. Goswick?
So painful I'd rather not talk at all, Doctor.
¿Pero qué no me la toma?
I'll let you get some rest.
Ahí está. ¿De qué va el juego? Somos un vampiro doctor. Somos un doctor. Despertamos saliendo de una fosa común, totalmente desorientado. No sabíamos qué nos había pasado. Y nos acercamos a alguien que nos saludó con mucho cariño. Y resulta que la terminamos matando. Era nuestra hermana. Y ahí empiezan a perseguirlo porque dicen, bestia, monstruo, bla, 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 bla. Y él dice que va a buscar quién le hizo esto para vengar a la hermana. Y se supone que somos... O sea... Y ahora estamos investigando eso. ¿Está bien? Dije ya que éramos vampiros. Sí. Queridos hijos, siento no haberos escrito antes, pero tan solo trasladar estas palabras a maldito papel me produce un dolor insoportable. No os preocupéis, papá abandonará el hospital en cuanto los médicos le curen el brazo. Mientras tanto, si necesitáis cualquier cosa, id a ver al señor Chadwick a la obra y decirle que sois los hijos de Harvey Fiddick. ¿Os acordáis de Robert Chadwick? Ese hombre enorme con bigote que me ayudó a arreglar las puertas de la casa la primavera pasada. Id a verlo y pedirle algunos chelines. No os pondrá ninguna pega. Siento no poder trabajar por el momento, pero ya me inventaré algo en cuanto salga de aquí. No os preocupéis, todo irá bien en cuanto papá recupere la fuerza en el brazo. En cuanto a los médicos me curen el brazo. Nueva pista, chicos. ¿Te conozco?
Good evening, Doctor.
Entonces llegamos al hospital y estamos conociendo a los personajes. Y resulta que a medida que vamos hablando con ellos se van desbloqueando pistas, parte de la historia.
Thank you. And you are?
I am Thoreau Strickland, Dr. Thoreau Strickland. I'm a great admirer of your work, Dr. Reed.
What do you think of Dr. Ackroyd's aversion to modern medical methods?
It's a shame he's so narrow-minded.
Viste, esta por ejemplo es un texto que se me desbloqueó por hablar antes con el otro médico. Si no hubiera hablado antes con el otro médico no tendría esta historia. O sea, este texto, ¿no?
Why is it so difficult to work together?
I believe that if Dr. Ackroyd had been the one to discover the transfusion process, he would be the first to recommend its use.
So you believe it's just a question of jealousy and pride?
Dr. Ackroyd is as proud as he is blinded by his obsolete concept of medical science.
Okay.
Please, could you tell me something about yourself?
I'm a great admirer of your work concerning blood transfusion, Dr. Reed. I run my own experiments. I'm convinced it's the future.
Sus propios experimentos.
I based my technique on my mentor's research. He helped me perfect my method. What is yours?
I'd rather not talk about it. For now, it's just theories and first approach. My process is purely experimental and unsuccessful.
As long as you're cautious and methodical, you may remain empty-handed, but you won't fail.
You're not the first one to warn me, but I am convinced knowledge is the main weapon against the ravages of this epidemic.
Experimenta este
What made you choose to be a doctor?
I'm not ashamed to admit you and your work have inspired me. I am honored to have the opportunity to work by your side.
I'll give you some advice, but understand that nothing beats practical experience, which can be exhausting and solitary work.
Of course, sir. And don't worry, I will never allow myself to be a burden, neither to you nor this hospital.
Dices, una consulta, te he tenido de fondo todo el rato y solo escucho hablar a los personajes. Sí, idea mía, tiene mucho bla bla y poca acción. Hubo bastante acción al principio, pero resulta que llegué a una zona donde hay muchísimos personajes.
What can you tell me about the Pembroke?
Well, it has always been an
Y
honor
al
to
parecer
work with
todos
Dr.
son
Swansea.
importantes.
But with your arrival, I can't think of a better opportunity to learn about blood transfusion.
Pero al principio no había tanto. Y tuvimos una pelea con un vampiro y todo.
I'm convinced that this epidemic is a test.
Sí, eso hablando con todo.
Of endurance and dedication for us men of science.
Questions remain about our capacity to resolve the situation.
True.
Me recuerda a
Last summer, during the first wave of
Call
the
of
epidemic,
Cthulhu.
I used to joke with Milton about the extra work.
hablé con todos los
Not
personajes.
smiling now.
Y ahí fui entendiendo
Do
la
you need
historia.
help with anything in particular?
Well, yes, maybe. I'm waiting for a batch of products I
Que
ordered
ella es
for my
muy
personal
sociable,
research.
perdón, cabros.
Yet my
Pero es que es
supply seems to have
importante
vanished.
para
You want me to play
entender
the errand boy for you?
Oh no, Dr. Reed.
lo que sucede. No sé
But
si soy tan
if you went
sociable. El tema
personally
es
to
que
his shop,
son
with
puntos
your
rojos en mi
reputation and all,
mapa.
he wouldn't dare to refuse the products I need.
I see. Well, give me the address, for I may pass by if I have time.
Nueva investigación, ¿verdad? ¿Viste?
Tell me more about your willingness to experiment with new
Creo que está
medical
experimentando con los
techniques.
pacientes.
Harvey Fiddick is a patient suffering from a severe injury that could cripple him if not treated correctly. I'm convinced your blood transfusion technique could help him.
What is it you really want? To save him, or to prove your point?
Fair question. I want nothing but to save my patient, Dr. Reed. Especially since I know Mr. Fiddick's story.
Tell me Mr. Fiddick's story.
Our first diagnosis was compromised because Mr. Fiddick lied to us about the real origin of his injury. He first claimed it was an accident.
But why would he hide such crucial information from us?
Because he is a proud father, ashamed of putting his children at risk because of his own negligence.
What?
This personal involvement could also appear to be a lack of impartiality.
Sí,
You
soy
must know
curiosa.
that a good surgeon must remain neutral.
Quiero conocer todo el lore, gracias.
But that does not excuse
Por
Dr.
eso es el
Aykroyd's behavior. A
puto
man who did
puzzle
not
de
even
la
take
sesión.
time to converse with his patient.
Do you think keeping his distance was a mistake?
All I know is that I'm taking care of human beings with desires, hopes, and fears. Not some biological machine comprised of blood, bones, and flesh.
Okay. Bien.
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland.
Tenemos un dato más, con este. Vamos a ver.
Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
¿Qué
Good
dices?
evening, Dr. Reed.
Yo estoy en la misma
Any
en el
news
gancho,
about
estoy
my
leyendo todo el
operation?
diálogo, la historia principal está buena. Te creo. Bien. Tenemos dos pistas. Uno es por la carta y el otro porque se siente culpable, que fue lo que hablamos con el otro médico.
You seem worried about the safety of your family. And it's obviously the reason why your wound troubles you so much.
I cannot give up on my children now. They both need me living.
What about their mother, if I may ask?
She died in 1915 during one of the first Zeppelin raids. We never found her body.
Tell me more about the death of your wife, Harvey.
1915. I was in the army, building workshops for the Royal Flying Corps. Helen was happy I wasn't sent to the front.
What happened?
The Germans sent Zeppelins to bomb the construction site, but they missed their target. My wife was bringing my dinner when the bombs fell.
I'm sorry for your loss. So many died during the bombings. I served in France and witnessed the carnage there.
I would like to say that she didn't suffer. Truth is, I have no idea.
Ay, qué horror,
I
güey.
just know that I'm all that me kids have. Poor little bleeders.
How are your children after
They were smaller then. The only good thing about this is my Helen didn't bring them with her that night.
Tell me about your injury, Harvey. Why do you feel so guilty about it?
My wife died because of me. And now I may lose everything because I've been careless enough to hurt myself. What an arsehole.
How could your job be responsible for your wife's death?
I was working a double. She went out to bring me a hot meal and got caught in a German bomb raid.
You can't hold yourself responsible for your injury, Mr. Fiddick. Unless you tried to hurt yourself.
Of course I didn't hurt myself. But I can't work until my arm is fixed. My children need to eat, Doctor.
Ok, ok, me quedó claro.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Creo que ya hablamos todo con este, nos lo podemos comer.
As for me, what a blundering idiot.
But in the circumstances, I'm willing to give you.
My sweet girl. Treats me like a book.
Sí. Agotamiento, mira. Necesitamos descansar para evolucionar. Ya. Tenemos que crear algo para el agotamiento. Viste que eso es lo que tiene este tipo, pero... Mira. Agotamiento. Detalles. Pero no sé... Todavía no aprendemos a hacer esas cosas. Investigaciones locales. Faltan ingredientes. Ah, las misiones secundarias. Ay, perdón, casi te empujo.
We may lack the resources, but we have some of the most brilliant minds in London at Pembroke.
Bien, creo que hablamos con todos. Esta es otra puerta.
Thelma Howcroft said she was being watched by vampire hunters. Where are they hiding? I should investigate.
Carta arrugada es. Amor mío. Nada, ¿en serio? ¿Hay una carta de amor mío muerto? Dios, estamos grabando, ¿cierto? Sí.
Bueno chicos, hasta acá el video de hoy, espero que les haya gustado. Si es así, por favor, denle like, lo pueden compartir con sus amigos, suscribirse si no se han suscrito y como siempre les digo, nos estaremos leyendo en los comentarios. Que estén muy muy bien. Adiós.